Do you remember the exact moment you realized like you weren't cool? Do you know what I mean? Like you were with the it crowd, and like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I felt like it was because I was different. Like, we're not even talking about personality at all, just the way you looked. And like, I don't know, it just like the first time I realized that like I didn't fit in, you know. Like, no matter what I did, that would never change. So I told myself that like I'm not gonna spend the rest of my life in Milford. And I did for a little bit, or you know, didn't rather. But the point is, like, I actually remember the moment. It was during lunch, right? And like, I don't know what subject it was. Maybe it was like history or something. I don't know. And I don't know. We were talking about like food from other countries and stuff, and like we for some reason we were talking about Asia, like, and anyone else in the class was Asian besides me, and there was this thing that said in terms of a courtesy, in terms of manners, it's not cool to it's not appropriate rather to dump a whole bunch of soy sauce on your food, because then you're overpowering the taste of the food, which is soy sauce. And for those that don't know, soy sauce can be really salty. There's a lot of sodium in it. That's why there's sodium-free soy sauce, or low sodium. And like, I was getting lunch, right, and like we had, I don't know, something like rice and chicken that day or something, and I put soy sauce on my rice because, you know, this is what I did. That's what we did at home. And one of my so-called friends, right, he was with his other, you know, coincidentally white friends. Take that how you want to mean it. He made a joke like, and like, you know, I considered him pretty good friend. Like, we were cool, you know. We didn't hang out or anything, but you know, we crack jokes with each other every now and then. And so when he was with his white friends, like going through the lunch line as well, the whole assembly of it, the assembly line service of it, he made a comment about like, be careful how much soy sauce you put in your food, is inappropriate. And like, I kind of looked at him like, and his friends laughed, and he kind of looked at me like, almost like he was sorry that he had to act a certain way around them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think he thought it was funnier than it was. Like, I would find it funny, and like, because I think he knew his friends would find it funny. And that's the moment I realized, you know, like, I'm never gonna be the same. I'm never gonna be treated the same as these people are. And it's because of the simple thing that it's because I look different. Yeah, and like, it wasn't life scarring or anything. It just made me realize certain things that I had no control over, and quite frankly, it wasn't my fault. I know that sounds a little weird, saying something you can't control isn't your fault, but like, maybe that's the wrong way to phrase it. I don't know, but like, it was a moment where I realized, like, I'm not in a favorable position in the school, in the city, maybe even in the state. And all I knew was I had to get out of that zip code. It doesn't matter where it was, it just had to be out of the zip code. And now I don't know if it's ironic or not. Maybe it's just tragic, but now I'm here, and there's a very good chance I'm going to spend the rest of my life here, and it's not by choice. So I didn't get what I wanted. Not necessarily validation, not necessarily equality. It was almost like I melted into the wrong melting pot. You know what I mean? Like, they were separate melting pots. I thought there was only supposed to be one melting pot where all of us were going. Like, we're all in the same boat, etc. You know, we all came in different boats, but now we're all in the same boat. And for a long time, I believed that. I thought, like, I'm gonna be treated just as equally as anyone else that looks, so whatever, looks so that way, whatever. And then I realized it's not as simple as that. And for a long time, I didn't quite grasp it. I didn't grasp the magnitude of it. Yeah. It's unfortunate. And like, I don't know, it's just weird, because then like, people still look at me funny when I say I don't want to have kids. And like, you look around your world, you put your feet in someone else's shoes, and you tell me that this isn't a scary world to grow up in, and you tell me everything's gonna be fine with my kids, because either way they're gonna look at least half Asian. And like, I'm just afraid if their mother was a different race than me, which is a high possibility in my opinion, but if they were a different race than me, my fear is that they wouldn't be accepted from either side, including, so I guess there's 3 sides here. You want to look at like a triangle. This is my side, this is my wife's side, and everyone else's side. And no matter how hard they try, they're not going to fit in this triangle. They're going to be outside of it. Like, we'll be together at home. We'll be together in the long run when shit hits the fan, etc. But I don't know, I just feel like that's a very, very lonely life. And there's a lot of bad stuff that can happen as a result of it. And then you ask me why I don't want to have kids. I don't know. I thought the answer was self-evident. I don't know why I was thinking that. Now, if I went to school, or rather if my offspring went to school, depending what state it was, for example, New York or California, where there is a somewhat larger Asian population, would they still be bullied? Would they still be not fitting in? I mean, maybe. But would there be less likely of a chance of that happening? No, I'm not a mathematician, or, you know what I mean? But yeah, there would be less of a chance of them being discriminated against by something they can't control. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, if I'm talking about this stuff that nobody wants to talk about, that makes people uncomfortable, I apologize, but it's a reality. And the more you try to brush it under the carpet, the less you're gonna understand about it. And maybe you want to be that way. You don't want to know how this stuff happens, how it goes like this. Maybe, like I said, maybe it makes you uncomfortable. but there's one thing you can deny, and that is reality. That is the state we've lived in, the circumstances that a lot of minorities in general face. And do I think it's ever going to change? I mean, that depends on how optimistic you are. But for me, I like to think I'm somewhat of a realist. I like to think. Whether I am or not, I don't know. Almost going back to what I was saying earlier about that guy, it sort of made me realize I was only his friend when it was convenient for him. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't cool to interact with me with certain people watching. That's what it felt like. And like, I saw his face after that. He was almost like he looked like he was sorry, like he didn't realize what happened. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. We never talked about it, but we never really talked. Period. We're always, we're just bullshitting around, and like, it just I don't know. Maybe that's the way it was. Our communication was supposed to end. He ended up going to a different high school and different college, obviously, but last time I checked, he was a bartender, but we never said a word to each other after whatever grade we were in. And I don't know, maybe that was for the best. Maybe he got into some stuff that would have caused me trouble. I don't know. Okay. What should we talk about next? I don't know, TCB. What should we talk about next? Let's talk about how it's almost 4 a.m. 3 a.m. right now, actually, closer to 3 a.m. And you know what they say, that 3 a.m. phone call might not exist. And we need to start accepting that is usually the case. And I get it. It's a lonely feeling, but you might not be someone else's priority. As much as I might claim you are, you might not be. And that's something some people have to learn the hard way. I'm not going to go into my experience with it, but it's not so much is it a question of does anyone care? It's a question of, is this a priority? Is this person high ranking in my my hierarchy? Do they deserve to be at the top? Or am we just gonna shuffle them in towards the bottom there? Because I don't really know them that well, blah blah. And like, this is the way it is. I mean, like, I feel like if I accepted that a long time ago, maybe things would have ran a little smoother in my life. I don't know. And that would have been nice at some point, was to get some smoothness. Let's just say otherwise it was a bumpy ride. It was a very bumpy ride. Yeah.